Right, okay, so welcome back. This particular show, if you like, if you want to call it a show, if you want to call it the JC show, or just a bit of friendly banter and chat, we like doing this, don't we? It's fun, it's great to help people, and the feedback that we've been having from doing this has been phenomenal, so we really appreciate that. Thank you, and do keep asking questions, and if we can answer them, we certainly will try. So, on that note, I'm going to hand you straight over to you, and let's find out what it is that we're going to talk about.
Today, I'm excited. Today, we are going to explore via some of Johnny's teachings what is at the heart of our doubts, our beliefs. Mm-hmm. How and when are these doubts and beliefs formed? And more critically, are they permanent? Because that's what it comes down to, though, isn't it?
Yes, yes, indeed it does. Permanent.
One thing you're always saying to me is like half the battle is actually acknowledging it. Because like until you told me about this whole paradigm and belief
100%.
system, until you drew it to me, like no, because you've always said you don't get taught what you need to get taught at school. What you need, you never taught.
Yeah, you never taught. No, not at all. Not at all.
And like the first time you shared this whole paradigm thing with me, I was like, oh. Then I started reflecting on my life, and it started to make sense.
It makes a lot of sense, yeah. And this is the stuff that's no one teaches this stuff. You know, it's not taught in school. It's not taught in education. You know, there's a lot of things that's lacking in education, but that's another show.
We're not here to put the world right at all. I mean, no, thank you. But it is really, and the reason that we're talking about this is because based on the last show, we got some feedback, some comments, and then, you know, Rue, the singer-songwriter.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about what Rue said in a bit. But we've just basically compiled this show based on the feedback from the previous show.
Absolutely.
So this is basically for you and for me. I'm kind of learning all the time. So,
but I am. Do you know? Listen, I think that one of the little catchphrases that I've always kind of in fact, I've got the t-shirts. I should have worn the t-shirt actually, but it's stay humble, hustle hard. And I think that it's so important to stay humble. You never know everything. You can always learn something new. You can always better yourself, and there's always things that you can obviously try and adapt and adjust and learn into. And I think that being unhumbled, you know, not being open to new ideas is a massive flaw for a lot of people. And there's people that I've met, you've met, who think they know everything. And seemingly they struggle with everything as well. But that's just the nature. And then this is again comes down to what we're going to talk about today, is the belief systems.
This is a really nice segue, what you're talking about constantly learning, because I want to start today by sharing what have we learned personally since the last episode.
Okay.
About ourselves, about our creative exploits, our professional exploits. Mm-hmm. I've had a massive galactic learning literally yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
Literally yesterday.
Tell the good people about this learning.
I have been ramping up my content online through my YouTube channel, through my digital, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, and it's just, I had a realization maybe 6 months ago. It's like, you love creating, but you're kind of holding stuff back. Why? Just share it. Just share it.
Put it out there.
But I'm always prone to producing. So like just one single piece of content, I'll produce it, I'll edit it, I'll add a bit of music, I'll add a bit of this.
Yeah, totally. And you spend so much time trying to go for that real, you know, perfection, very high quality TV style production, rather than just get it out there.
And you know what? I always am. There's always going to be that element of everything I put out. But my brother, a very backstory, my brother works in advertising. He said to me, mate, seriously, just stop it. You're spending far too much time trying to get to 100% rather than actually realizing if you get to 60%, nobody cares about the absent 40. No one will even notice it apart from you. And if you get to 60 and just share your content, then you'll get more content out there, which is going to be conducive to traction, building up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I want the 100. It's like, yeah, that's where you're going wrong. It's what you want. What about what the audience wants? Just get out your own way, dude. So anyway, I'm currently filming a little series behind the scenes of something which I'll be sharing soon, and a funny little incident happened during some filming recently, and I thought I want to just share this on social media.
Yeah.
And totally. I thought, well, you can't just share that because it doesn't mean it's disconnected. It doesn't make sense to anything else. You need to produce it. You need to add music. You need to add dance. Then I had my brother saying, "You don't need any of that shit. Just put it out and stop being a knob." Right. So I put out the video on Facebook yesterday, which is called "Random Woman Tells CK to Stop Talking to Herself on the Street" or something.
Can you guess what happened? Can you guess? And you know what he's going to say here.
Basically, that video was unproduced. It made no sense on its own, but I thought it could be quite funny. No music, no nothing. I just put it on Facebook.
Get it out.
I've not had a single post that's had that much
That
engagement.
much engagement in any post for a long time.
I can't remember the last time I had any piece of content that...
What's the learning point? You learn.
Well, it goes against everything I believe to say this, but the learning point, once again, Big CK was right, and he's a knob, because he's like, my brother just swans around, just like going, yeah, mate, listen, ignore me if you want, but at your peril. No, listen, I joke, he's my favourite human in the world, but like, it got me thinking, like, have I just been getting in my own way for ages, second guessing, rather than just putting stuff out there?
Absolutely.
And then just seeing.
Absolutely. But that's the biggest problem, is that we all get in our own way. Do you know that you are the biggest obstacle you'll ever have to encounter, and once you start to realise that, and listen, it's not going to be easy. Do you know the process is simple, but it's not easy. It's far from easy, and it's a battle that we're going to have to constantly have. But once you become more aware of it, at least when you're aware of it, like we've just mentioned just then, once you become aware that there's an issue and you actually confront that issue, part of the job's done. Part of the actual problem has been resolved just by confronting it. And it's the same way like counselling. You know, I've got a business partner what's a counsellor in one of the businesses that I run. And it's like she says to me, do you know, when someone comes to speak to him about counselling, the fact that they've actually stepped up and come forward, half the job's done. Half of that process of the cure, if you want to call it, or the process to get on back on track, half of that job has been done just by actually stepping up. And that makes a big difference. And that's the same for the things that you're doing. You know, once you start to step up, part of the job's done.
Yeah, that was my learning of the week, Johnny. You?
I think the thing is, I mean, I learn new things all the time. Do you know, I suppose my learning process at the moment is for the last probably, I don't know, maybe a week or so, maybe 2 weeks or just under. I've been reading a book called Solve for Happy. I should actually put a copy on here actually, but
it's currently in his toilet.
I'll put it in the description in the video. But it's by the chief engineer of Google X, and he's basically created an algorithm for happiness, and it's just really refreshing, some of the stuff that it's talking about. So I'm constantly learning things from there all the time about how the mind functions, you know, about how we think about things, about how we process information and why we process information in certain ways and the habitual ways that we create. So for me, I'm always learning. I read, you know, unless it's a really thick book, like this is pretty heavy going, I'll try and do a book a week. And sometimes it's the same book, but I'm constantly trying to learn things all the time. This week it's all about, you know, understanding what's going on up here a little bit better. And I just love it. I absolutely love it, because and I've said this all the time, what I find is the more I understand me, the better I understand everybody else.
What have you learned? Tell us, share it. I don't know, I'm curious. And does any of the two things, do any of our learning points relate to you? Have you been kind of putting stuff out there in any capacity, whether it's releasing singles you think, I don't... To be fair, I feel a bit icky saying release singles you don't show off, because that's different kettle of fish to me to putting out a shit video. but
it's still taking the action. You know, it's taking
sure.
the action, it's the execution, and that's the thing that's hard. You know, the ideas... You know, because we all get ideas all the time. You know, we've got wonderful ideas about what we're going to do for marketing, what we're going to do for the video, how we're going to edit it, how we're going to distribute it. You know, the things that we're going to talk about. Ideas are worthless. It's the execution, it's the action to execute that is the hardest thing to do. But the easiest step to take, or the more simplest step to take, is just do it. You know, just do it, move forward, and figure it out. You know, adjust, and that's all you can do is keep on pushing it and adjusting along the way.
So share your learning points of the week with us. Now, on the way later on in the show, I'm going to share with you a question that we received from a guy on Instagram. Ahead of this show, I did an Instagram story inviting you guys to ask us a question which we would answer for you. And Peter, I'm hoping that's pronounced... How would you pronounce that? Gurgley?
Gurgley, yeah.
Gurgley.
Yeah.
Peter Gurgley sent me a question on Instagram stories, and
awesome,
it's a real... You like this question. Johnny likes it.
I like all questions.
Don't ask him for 50 quid, he hates that one.
I like delving in.
Don't ask him for some cake either. It's all for Johnny. Big lad. So we're going to have a look at Peter's question later on. But right now, I want Johnny to share with you a little... principle, I suppose, is the best way to describe this. And Johnny did a workshop last week.
And called Master Your Destiny. There's going to be a couple more happening before the end of the year as well. So I mean, do check out my website if you're interested in finding out more about this. Just go to Jon Covey. John, obviously, as you'll be aware, is without the H. JonCovey.com, and there's the events and stuff that's coming up on there as well.
Thanks for the plug. And during Johnny's workshop, or at least at the start of Johnny's workshop, I was getting to know everybody that was there because I didn't know anyone apart from Katie. I knew Katie, but I didn't know anybody else that was there. And there was one lady, we don't need to mention her name or anything, but I just went over and I started talking to her. I asked how things are, and she went, "I'm really great at the moment, but my kid is driving me insane." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, it's currently on half term. He's in the house all the time."
Which, to be fair, most kids, half term, almost at the end of half term, a week out, it's going to drive you a little bit nuts. Most people are going to feel that.
She was like, I'm constantly saying to him, go and find your mates, go to bowling, just go away from me. But he just couldn't. He wouldn't.
Yeah, and she had a breakthrough, didn't she, on the day?
And she had a breakthrough right at the end of the day because Johnny did this, what he's going to do now. He's going to talk about something now. And then I turned to her and I said, "So what do you think about the day?" And she went, "I've just realised why my son is the way he is. Why he's like so... He's such a homebody. He won't leave my side, and I've just realised why that is. Basically, it's not his fault. And this is what you always say: nothing's our fault, really. It's because of conditioning.
It's conditioning. It's belief systems and conditioning. And I think that's what it is. And I don't want to go into mass detail on this because for me to do it effectively, I'd need a big whiteboard and probably an hour of your time, maybe more. In fact, I could probably talk about this for a week and still not cover everything. But in the basis of it all is that you're fully aware we've got our conscious, we've got our conscious and we've got our subconscious, and it's the subconscious that drives us. And the way to look at the subconscious is imagine it like a bowl with no top on it, so it's a complete open bowl. And
for non-northerners, that was bowl, B-O-W-L. He didn't say imagine you've got a bowl.
A bowl, not a football. No.
B-O-W-L.
A bowl.
We've got southerners listening to this.
We've got a bowl. We've got a bowl. Yeah, we've got this bowl. So in this bowl, it's open top, there's nothing in it. And all the things that we're processing as a child from birth to roughly 7 years old is creating different belief systems, and they're called paradigms. And what they do is they create memories as well. So an example that I used on the day was that, you see a spider as a child and he's sat on the floor and he's playing with this spider, and what he's doing is he's looking into his subconscious, into his belief system for a memory of a spider, and because there's nothing there, he's got no fear towards one. So he plays with it and it tickles and he thinks it's quite nice. But what happens is his parents walks in, whether it's his dad, his mum, probably his mum, that's probably a little bit sexist, I take that back, his parents walk in and see this big spider crawling up little Timmy's arm and they freak out. Now Timmy doesn't know what's going on, but what he does recognise is loud noises, and so all of a sudden he's now got this belief system of a fear around spiders because his parents freaked out. Skip on 20 years, Timmy's petrified of spiders and he's got absolutely no idea why. He don't remember this, he's too young to remember it. It's just shaped a belief system in his paradigm that's now allowed him to continue this through his life, and he's created a phobia of spiders. Now, a lot of this is what happens in life, whether it's heights, whether it's money, we get influenced by the surroundings, whether it's relationships. And this is the thing, is that you don't just end up in a bad relationship. You don't just end up in debt. You don't just end up not being, I suppose, not taking the right kind of action. These are all belief systems and paradigms and habits that's been formed over a period of time. The good news is that you can alter them, but it takes time as well. And what you've got to be able to do is firstly acknowledge what they are. You're not always going to be able to find what's the cause. Now there is people, we've got friends, you've done a video before with Adrian, is a friend of ours, he's a subconscious surgeon. And what a guy. And he's an amazing guy. The stuff that he knows about the brain will it'll blow your mind, the stuff that he knows about the mind. But he can actually pinpoint a lot of the time he can pinpoint what's the root cause, and he can help you to eliminate this as well. So there's lots of people out there, you've got NLP and timeline therapy, there's lots of stuff like this. But it's understanding what causes these things, and the best way to reprogram them is, it's like going to the gym, it's like working out. It's a muscle that you need to refocus on, you've got to flex it and you've got to build it. So if you're scared of cold calling, it's just a phobia that you've got to work on. It's a muscle that you've got to build. If you're scared of money, a lot of the time people's been brought up in an environment where money is an issue for them. They think that money's, they've been told all their life money is the root of all evil, don't go on trees, if you can't afford it, don't have it, live within your means. All this creates a belief system that when obviously you actually start thinking about money, you think really bad things about it. And again, it's just about changing this process, like getting attention for yourself. If you've come from an environment where if you get attention, you feel like you're going to get criticised because maybe as a kid you got criticised for being too loud and being your natural self, and you got criticised for that, then all of a sudden you feel a little bit silly as you get older when you start getting attention, because all your childhood you were thinking Do you know, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting told to be quiet. Do you know, and these play havoc on us growing up. These are belief systems that we can alter, but we need to work on them. You know, we've got to work on them.
But we saw this in action last week, and this is exactly what happened with Rue. So Rue's a singer-songwriter that commissioned me to photograph her for her music, and she's a joy. And after we shared this video last week about why do creative people doubt themselves, she commented under the video. It was quite vague, but I've subsequently understood what she meant. She said, "Wow, this really connected with me." And I didn't know what she meant, but then she's doing a series with a platform called Music How UK, and she's basically vlogging her life and talking about her background. And in it, she said, I was doing a degree in engineering, I think it was. Then I realised during that degree that actually my heart and my soul was in music. And her exact words were,
kudos to you, by the way, for following your heart.
Imagine having to tell my mum and dad, who were an engineer and a teacher, I think, respectively, that I don't want to pursue academia, I want to pursue the arts. Imagine how that felt. Now, that's when I realised what she meant about this really struck home. Because now, how does that manifest in her day-to-day being a musician? For me, that it manifests because when she's thinking about, because she also struggles with sharing content, because she feels awkward, she feels she shouldn't be sharing, she's oversharing. And for me, that comes down to her not thinking she's actually doing she's not pursuing a credible path in life. And that was from the early stage of fearing the response from her parents.
From the parents.
Whatever response she got, I don't know, to be fair.
And exactly. And do you know, this is the thing, is that our parents, and if you're a parent, you're the same. You do the best that you can with the things that you've got, the tools, the resources, everything that you've got, you do the best that you can. Now, the thing is, if you're going to blame your parents for the issues that you have in your life, you've also got to blame them for everything that's good in your life as well, because they've shaped you into the person that you are. And so all they can do is their best. Now, they feel that by protecting you and pushing you into that route, they feel it's the best thing to do for you at that time. But they don't realise how much of an issue it causes later in life. And this ties in really well to this question, so we should probably jump into this question now, because I'm going to tie this into this question that we got from Peter.
All right.
So if you want to read out what Peter said.
This is a question from Peter, head of the show, on Instagram. It is, how do you know if your art is any good? Of course, you can't please everyone, but whose opinion matters? Is it worth seeking out creative criticism to base your progress on, or just deal with your doubts in-house? Mm-hmm. So, taking each question in point, how do you know if your art is any good? You can't please everybody. Whose opinion matters?
Well, I mean, the first thing is, do you know, is your art any good? Do you know, let's get honest. Do you know, we know deep down inside whether we are good at something. And
I don't agree.
And I think that what's good for one person might not be good for somebody else. But we've got an inbuilt system that tells us whether it's good.
But have we?
Yeah, absolutely.
You see deluded people. Well, I mean, this is difficult because I'm like, maybe I'm shit. I don't know. Everything's subjective.
No, it is absolutely. But you know, deep down inside, you know, your internal navigation system that you've been programmed with from birth or been given as a gift, wherever it's come from, you know what your feelings are towards something. So you know whether or not this is something that you should pursue straight away. If you sit down and really have a good, hard, stern conversation with yourself, you'll come to the answer straight away. You know, your heart will not lie to you, and that's the first thing that I'm saying to you there. So I'm not saying whether or not it's good in terms of how it looks. I'm saying, is it good enough for you? That's what I'm saying there. Do you know? So you've got to believe in it yourself, and it's the thing that we teach. It's the thing that we teach in sales. You know, the first sale that you ever have to make is to yourself. So if you're not sold on your own stuff, firstly, if you don't think it's good, if you don't really think it's good, then you're always going to struggle.
So to answer the first part of Peter's question, whose opinion matters, your own. First and foremost, your own.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you're sold on your own products, because you're going to struggle to sell your own products if you're not prepared to buy it yourself. So that's the first thing that's important. Second thing, is there a demand? You know, is anybody liking it? Are people buying into it? Are people liking what you're talking about? And that doesn't have to be a mass audience. So it might be just a small handful of people at the minute that's saying, do you know, I really like it. It's really good. Cool. It's something to work from. Do you know?
But if you've only put it out to a small handful, that's a massive audience. That's think about it.
Yeah, totally. If you're only putting it out to, like you say, a very small audience, and you're getting just 3% of that people coming back, but the audience is only 100 people, you know, it does sound like it's really way out, but 3 from 100 is not that bad. Do you know? So it is again just about taking the action and moving forward. Now, when you say, what does it say here? It says,
is it worth seeking out creative criticism?
criticism is hard for anybody to deal with, and we talk about this all the time. You know, we all want to be loved. Our human conditioning is community. We're pack driven. You know, we want to be supported and loved, and you know, we want people to like us, and that's cool. We all want to feel like that. But criticism's hard. It's a tough pill to swallow. So yes, criticism can help you, but it's also, you've got to be very aware that it can sting, and it's something that you've got to be able to brush off. And don't take it too personally, because a lot of the time it's not meant that way.
But this comes back. I think this again leads nicely onto what you've always said. If you're not getting any criticism, then nobody knows about you.
You're not making enough attention.
You're not doing anything.
You're not getting enough attention if no one's criticising you. No one knows about you. You know, and absolutely right. You know, the next stage, what comes after criticism is hate, and that's an interesting story as well. But we could probably do another video about this.
That's definitely another episode.
But should you seek criticism? Well, I don't think it's a matter of you seeking criticism. I think it's about taking enough action that it creates criticism. That's the thing that you've got to really look to do, is, are you taking enough action? Are you executing hard enough for you to get the criticism that's going to become a byproduct of this attention that you're creating? Now, to come back again to the original part of the question, you know, what the start part was about, how, you know, who should it be, or
how do you know if it's any good?
How do you know if it's any good? And then it finishes off by saying, is it worth seeking criticism, or deal with your doubts in how? Right, okay, so this is, again, comes back to a childhood thing. You know, think back to when you were, and I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but I'll mention it briefly now. You think back when you were in school, you came back, you were probably 4, 5, maybe 6 years old, and you came home and you'd drawn this picture, you know, painting or picture or whatever it is at school, and your parents think, oh, this is amazing. Let me put it on the fridge so everybody can see it. So they stick this picture on the fridge, everybody can see it. What this is creating for you in a belief structure, as we were talking about before, this is creating a system that's saying that I only feel validated when my stuff's been approved. So by her putting, or your mum or your dad putting that painting on the fridge, is like saying that you will be validated when people see how good your work is. And this can really cause havoc for yourself, especially in a creative capacity. If you're an artist and you're seeking validation for everything that you're going to do, this is, again, it's not your fault, it's not your problem. It's a belief system that's come from a childhood thing, and it's going to be hard to break. But the easiest way to break it, like anything, the easiest way to take a fear on is by challenging it. So just go out, make the action, to get the attention, deal with the criticism, and just have complete belief in what you do. Because if you believe in it, you don't care whether other people think it's good or not. So people will tell you what they want, and then you just adjust and adjust and adjust. But stay true to yourself.
And so, Johnny, let's have some points to consider. Homework, if you like. I don't know. Call it homework.
Are you guys?
Call it whatever you want.
Are you up for some homework? Because do you know what? Right, this is the thing, is that you'll listen to videos like this, and maybe they're not as good. Maybe they're better. Maybe there's a mixture. Do you know? Again, there's always something to learn. The issue that I see time and time again is people having these breakthrough moments when we're talking about things. It might have been one sentence that we said in this, and it's like, oh my god, that was amazing. I should do that. Then you do nothing with it. Do you know, again, ideas are great, the action, the execution is so difficult, so hard, and it's that what makes all the difference. So what I will say is there's a little bit of homework for you to do if you want to do it. If you want to have a breakthrough and you want to move forward and you want to get to that next level, then do it. If you don't, then just listen, enjoy it, share it with some other people, they might get a breakthrough, it's all good. I'm just really enjoying sharing the stuff that's took me probably a decade and a half to kind of forge, and I'm still learning all the time as well. Like CK is, you know, we're fallible human beings, and we're never perfect. You know, we're far from perfect. So the first question would be, do you want to ask the question, or can you remember what they are?
I think the first question is, what do you want?
Absolutely. Write this down now. What do you want? And actually physically write it down. You know, take a second, pause the video, do whatever you need to do. Write it down right now and get clear. What is it that you actually want? Second question.
What is in your way?
What's stopping you? Absolutely. What's stopping you from having this transformation in your life, in your career, in your business, in your hobbies, and whatever it is? There's something that's stopping you right now, and you know exactly what this is, and this is coming back to talking about that internal belief system again. There's something, you know, if you sit down long enough and hard enough and be true to yourself and completely honest, you know that there's something inside you that's stopping you, whether it's the fear, whether it's the fear of criticism, whether it's your parents, whether it's there's something that's stopping you.
Fear of failure, fear of criticism.
Absolutely, it could be anything. Write it down. It might be more than one thing. Write these things down. And then the third question.
The third one, according to Johnny, because he shared me this homework before we started, is what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to change it? So the minute
change what?
To change whatever is this problem that's stopping you.
Change number 2.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So do you know, the minute this video stops, the minute you stop watching this, what are you going to do to make number 1 become a reality, to remove number 2's limitations and problems and anxieties and stress and all the issues that there? What are you going to do right now going forward to take you closer to where you want to be? And that is all you can do. Write these things down, go out, apply it, and just keep on doing it. You know, patience is they say patience is a virtue. Do you know, patience is tough. I'm probably one of the most impatient people, and it's difficult to be patient with things. But you've got to take the action. You've got to be able to be prepared to move forward, to do the stuff, to keep on pushing, to keep on pushing, to keep on pushing. It's that grit that we talked about before, is seeing it through. So, do you know, just to recap, what is it that you're wanting to do? What is it that's stopping you? What are you going to do to make it happen?
Now, to be fair, this has been a long episode, and there's possibly going to be something at one point during this that you thought, oh yeah, and maybe you want Johnny and I to expand on one particular bit. So if there was anything you thought, yeah, that bit, like, just because that, like, we're not here to please ourselves, really. This is why this whole show is based on everything that we got from the last one. So you're literally going to kind of shape the next show. If there's anything in particular that you felt was really powerful, impactful, relevant,
totally.
You don't have to write on the YouTube videos, find us online, whatever. I don't really care. But just let us know, then we can shape the next show on that.
Well, you know, CK is at CK Goldiing, double I in the Goldiing. Over on Twitter, mine's at Jon without the H _Covey.
You need to sort that.
But the description will be in. The links will be in the description to the video as well. Whether it's on, if you're watching this on YouTube, certainly. And that's it, guys. I hope this is bringing you value. We're loving we're loving the fact that we're sharing this stuff with yourselves. If there is anything else, by all means, check it out. I'm just doing a little thing at the minute. Again, it's a little bit of a plug, but that's just the way I roll. If you look at the other stuff on here, there's a playlist that's set up which is called 6 in 60. So every day, I don't know how long I'm going to run it. It depends on the feedback that I get, but I'm going to do a little small video every single day sharing 6 tips in 60 seconds.
Sometimes weirdly from his bed. Like, what was that all about? I meant to ask you about that. Like, he's lying in bed. He's lying in bed like, just in my pants. I've got something for you.
It just looked comfortable. I had an idea.
It looked horrible.
Yeah.
It looked horrible.
I felt comfortable. Again,
but what about the audience?
Do you like it? Let me know. Leave a comment.
If not, criticise. He wants to.
Criticise me. I can make it better. Cool. I hope you've enjoyed that. Have an absolutely wonderful day. As always, it's been good filming that with this guy. And we'll speak to you next time.